got to use your reviews well. Good start from Philander to Root.
Well, Root, the captain, when he comes in, he's got a great applause from the crowd. They like the way he plays because he's busy, he's aggressive, and I think he probably should be batting at 3 to counter-attack all the time. Here's that dismissal again. We both thought it was pitching outside leg, was worth a review. Well, look at that. It's pitched outside leg and it's missing leg stump. It hasn't even gone on to hit the stumps. So a nervous Gary Ballance, inexperienced Jennings. They've both missed a trick there. You look where... Have a look at the non-strikers there where Gary Ballance is standing. He comes straight down. Interesting there. It's an important part of the game, isn't it? About where you stand at the non-striker. England have missed the trick.
First up, he just look, review that. I want to know if it's hitting. And just a batsman, you stood there and you've got your guard. You know where you stood on middle and leg, and give an idea of where that ball's pitching.
Having said that, it's pretty hard for Jennings. That's why he's got to rely on his partner a little bit, at Gary Ballance. And that's why it's important the non-striker stands in the right area. You watch exactly what's going on. Yeah, but you're saying Jennings got a climb, but he's playing his 3rd test match. It's started. He's got so many things going through his head. What about if I use a review and I was out? I've used that one against more senior players. But surely part of the game these days is you've got to know what, as you said, Bumble, you've got to know where your leg stump is, you've got to know where your off stump is. And if I'm going to review, because I know that that's got to have pitched outside leg. It hasn't swung back into me. I've sort of gone to play that a bit on the onside, so it's got to have pitched outside leg. It took a long time to give it. There's got to be a bit of doubt there. There's doubt in the umpire's mind.
And sometimes you can see exactly where it's pitched. He's had a little prod there. He talks to Ballance. I wouldn't be talking to Gary Ballance. I'd have a little think, well, I think that that's pitched outside leg. I'm going to review it. 6 overs. England in a spot of bother. 20 for 2. England winning the toss and deciding to bat first, and they've got themselves in a bit of a pickle. 20 for 2. Change in the commentary box. Sean Pollock, Michael Atherton.
Thank you, Bumble. 5 left-handers in England's top 7, and certainly 2 of the South African bowlers, Morkel and Philander, excellent bowlers at left-handers. Change. Iso Rabada. Just cast your mind back a few weeks now to the one-day game here when England declined to 20 for 6. This was the end Rabada bowled from. This was the end he took his wickets from. So it's a nice change for Elgar to have. No reduction of threat with the change from Morkel to Rabada. Morkel presumably will change ends and replace Philander eventually. Rabada will bowl well at Root because he'll bowl a full length and get him coming forward. Nasser did a good piece before the start of play talking about the fact that Rabada against Root will be a key contest. He feels that Rabada will bowl well at England's new captain. Outside edge. Well, Southern Africans on the field and one up in the commentary box. Welcome, Sean.
Yeah, they were at one stage.
There are
good
12.
To be.
There were 13 a moment
exactly.
ago.
So, South Africans will be happy that 2 wickets are down. Great start for him. Dean Elgar said how he wanted to bat, but secretly, I think, in his first Test match as captain, he wouldn't have been disappointed. Getting out in the field first.
Root taking on the short wide ball. think that the captaincy is going to change his style of play at all. He's an impish player, optimistic player, likes to put bat to ball.
A very good shot, no risk at all. Rather close on that front line. Up and over.
You said when you looked at the pitch, Sean, this morning, you quite have fancied a bowl yourself. But when you look at this England top order, as a former new ball bowler yourself, what do you think? Do you look at that top order and say, this is a threat, there are opportunities here? How do you view it? Three left-handers?
Yeah, I definitely would have been thinking opportunities. When you come against a side with relative inexperience at the top of the order, Gary Ballance coming back after having to work on a few issues. Obviously, Alistair Cook is the established banker at the top of the order for England. It's one of those teams when you do get to the ground, you're thinking maybe 20 for 2, and we've got our wish.
Your fingers were twitching, were they?
Yeah, particularly when you get to ball first, there's obviously going to be a little bit of assistance. Always talk about the first hour and how you might get the ball to nip around or swing. So we've been excited about the fact that they've been out in the field. A three-pronged seam attack with the left-arm spin of Maharaj. The seamers would have been wanting any assistance they could possibly get, and they've used it well.
End of Rabada's first over England, the 24 for 2. Nasser.
Vernon Philander, 5 wickets last time he was here at Lords in the second innings of a test match. This time in the first innings he has both the wickets up front. Line bowler bowling from the pavilion end, Glenn McGrath-esque. And he has 3 different variations, or 2 actually. I'll bring Sean Pollock in on this. If you look at his heat map, he challenges your technique at top of off stump. Absolutely top of off technique. What have you got? But his variations are interesting. He has a ball that the seam is perfect. Look at that seam position. And as it hits the seam, it almost swings after positioning. And then he goes wobble seam. Goes up the slope to Cook and he nicks it. And again, another wobble seam delivery. I'm not sure he knows which way it's going. And that goes down the slope to Jennings. Would have missed leg stump, but gets him LBW. And there again, back on top of off stump. He really knows what he's doing, Sean, doesn't he?
He's got some great skills, and particularly with that new ball in his hand, he is so effective. And for me, the best delivery he bowls is when his seam is just bowled upright, because as a batsman, he bowls so close to the stumps, and he goes wicket to wicket. You're not sure what movement you're going to get. The one that you see him wobbling is when he tries to nip it away from the left-hander, so he tries to almost get it to go in. But with
Do you think he tried to get that ball going away from Cook like that? Or was it just
I think he was,
went?
Yeah, I definitely think he was trying to push it across. He didn't know how much movement he's going to get, but that was his thought process, to try and get it to nip. Whereas the seam up one that you saw, that bolt up right one, that's the one he's trying to shape in or get nice and straight and angle it at the stump. So the wobble seam delivery, I mean, I think it's a great attribute to have if you can get it to come out of your hand in that fashion, because the batsman can't work it out. I mean, the batsmen are trained for years and years of watching the seam, and when it's bolt upright, you can sort of pick up what's going to happen. But when it's wobbling, you're not too sure, are you? And once it pitches, then you have to try and guess what it's going to do.
I think he's a real threat to left-handers because he gets so tight into the stumps. His release position is close to the stumps. He generally pitches on the tram lines. He's making the left-handers play all the time. He's a threat. He has got that ball that goes across, as he got Alistair Cook out with. But generally, he's really tight to the stumps. So the left-handers have to play all the time. His issue, Sean, is his fitness, isn't it? Coming back with second and third spells, given that South Africa only have the 3 seamers.
Yeah, it is. And he's had a few injury issues with both ankles as of late. And that will be the big challenge. He's very effective. Those first 6 overs that Vernon Philander bowls in any test match, on any conditions, he's going to ask a lot of questions.
That's essentially where he's releasing the ball from, which is very tight into the stumps. And what that means is, to the left-handers especially, that ball will pitch in the tram lines. I know that the Jennings one suggested it was just outside leg stump, but more often than not, he's threatening the stumps. Just like that.
Ath, we've picked Sean's brain on bowling. What are you about your brain on fashion? What do you think of the old look now, back England? They've gone back away from the whites, they've gone to the creams and gone back to the old cable knit jumper. Do you agree? Are you happy with it?
I'm so glad you've come to me on fashion.
Exactly, that was my exact
I
thoughts.
am.
What do you
The
think?
guru.
You are the guru. Are you happy with the older look?
I like the cable knit sweaters.
And
yeah.
the creams as opposed to the white? South Africa's still in white. You're happy?
I like the change. Like that as well from Philander. Looks threatening. 8 overs done, 24 for 2. So this rejigged England batting line with Cook, Jennings and Balance the top 3. Root demoting himself 1 in the order as captain to 4. Bairstow, wicketkeeper batsman at 5. Stokes and Ali, the all-rounders. Probably describe Dawson as an all-rounder as well, but he's a principally spinner who bats. And then good to see Mark Wood back after about 18 months. Talking about Vernon Philander's ankle injuries, nobody's had more ankle issues than Mark Wood, and great to see him back. Just been a bit wide actually, Rabada. That's the issue, bowling from the end that he's bowling from, the nursery end. It'll just push you down the slope a little wide to the right hander.
Yeah, you're right, you can tell from the follow through. It's not really in the actual delivery. But if you have a look where Rabada ended up after that delivery, it was well to the left hand side, and you can see in the mind there he's not happy with that last delivery. He bowled beautifully in the one day internationally, didn't he? Picked up 2 or 3 wickets very quickly from the same self end.
Again. And my memory of you, Sean, is that you were a pavilion end bowler. Generally, the line bowlers, and you were a great line bowler, would come in a pavilion end.
I wanted to.
You didn't always get the choice.
Alan Donald had the choice, unfortunately.
But the point being that as a line bowler, if you're looking to hit the top of off stump, that slope means that the batsman has to play, and therefore you'll get him playing at just the occasional wider ball as well.
Yeah, for me it was all about trying to bowl a real tight line on and around off stump and getting the batsman to be conscious about whether he should or shouldn't play. So if I came from the pavilion end and had the slope, they would think, well, the ball's going to nip down the slope. They'd probably play it a lot more deliveries. I didn't have to adjust my line. I could just be as consistent as possible, get it through to the wicketkeeper, and the sort of natural variation of the conditions would allow me to be effective without having to change up much.
Wasn't as wide as the previous ball, not as short and wide as the one that Root deliberately cut over the slips. This just got a bit close to him. Quite get a full-blooded cut to that, just cramping him for Root.
This is the case where, as a batsman, you think, well, it's going to go down the slope, so that should offer up a little bit more width to be able to put it away through the offside. It didn't. Nipped slightly back up the slope.
Mentioned that he bowled pretty well in the one-day game from this end, but the bowlers who've not bowled a lot here, Rabada is in that category. It does occasionally take some getting used to. At the moment, he's just struggling to get the ball tight enough to off stump to make the batsman play. Wide again. 24 for 2, 9 gone. bowlers. Philander's not light on his feet. He's quite a heavy man. And slams his foot down on these hard pitches. Got to make sure that your ankles, your feet are suitably protected. They're discussing golf, not cricket. JP's a golf addict these days, isn't he?
And that might be a Carlson bowler in the background as well that Bumble was referring to. But yeah, definitely golf.
Other beers are available, of course.
South Africans won't mind this. You can see what Philander's thinking is. He wants to try and get balance out of that crease onto the front foot. That one's slightly overpitched.
Generally, the ploy to balance has been a simple one, hasn't it? Since his technique rather unravelled after that very bright start in Test cricket, bowlers have looked to bowl short, not to get him out with a short ball, but to push him back and then try and pitch it full. Oh, it's beautiful delivery. That is a snorter.
That's the challenge. I mean, when he releases so close to stumps, at no stage with that scrambled seam are you secure of what the ball's going to do. So you committed to play it at basically everything. And when he does get the movement, he really is in the picture. 2 for 12. And you get the feeling that 3 isn't that far away.
Lovely. First really confident shot from Gary Ballance. The previous drive, it went for a couple, was slightly mistimed. He got his weight really into the ball here, bent front knee. Gary Ballance is saying what he's looking to do in this innings, to get forward, get his weight into the shot. That is a perfect example.
This is a nice boost of confidence for Gary Ballance. Beautifully played through that offside. And then there was a little bit disappointed with how full the delivery was.
.31 for 2. Beautiful day here at Lord's. Fantastic morning of cricket in prospect. Full house, sunny day. Nice pitch, albeit with just a tinge of green. I think the groundsman feels that it's very dry, and that's why he wanted to keep the carpet of grass on the surface. Joe Root winning his first toss as England captain. 2 early wickets for South Africa. It's worth just looking at Rabada so far. I mentioned that this slope is pushing him wide of Joe Root's off stump. He doesn't have to play anything there. There's that very short ball that he cut over the slips, but really Rabada is a good 2 feet wide of where he would like to be, and I'm sure that's because of this, the end that he's bowling from. It was a bit tighter to off stump.
It's almost like he's trying to force the issue in his first 2 overs. He's starting to find his rhythm in this third over that he's bowling. Just nips back up the slope. And then the cock. A bit excited maybe about that extra movement, thinking it was, had a chance of catching into the off stump. So did Rabada.
Top edge, trouble for Root. Oh, he's got away with it. Real trouble there for Joe Root. It was a good quick bouncer from Rabada. Fine leg was in, and that has only gone for 4. So a let-off, you'd suggest.
I think Vernon Philander's gone off the field. It could be Aidan Markram there at fine leg. He was in slightly and it bounces short of the boundary rope. So that's a break for Joe Root.
It's a long, long way down there. That's the furthest part of the ground, the longest boundary. The moment that ball came off the edge, Root would have feared the worst.
Sometimes not the easiest ground to pick up where the ball is going to end up at fine leg. Back of length, goes hard, it rolls the wrists, gets the top edge and it's popped up in the air, and all the slip cord are thinking that could be gone. Markram's come in a few yards and unfortunately can't adjust, can't get back quick enough, just bounces inside the boundary cushion. And a missed opportunity, frustration for Rabada, happiness for Root.
Now look at Rabada's reaction in the background. Extra pace for somebody like Rabada. That last ball is instructive from balance. Mentioned that they try and bowl a short ball to push him back, and that occasionally then balance struggles to get back into the full ball. This is a really good example. He's seen the short ball to Root. This is a full ball really that a batsman would naturally, most batsmen would naturally look to come forward to, but balance is stuck in the crease. Seven from the over could have been all so different though. 38 for 2. So Philander will give way. Good opening spell, 5 overs, 2 maidens, 1 for 17. And the reason that Morkel only bowled a 3 over spell, clear enough. He will now come in behind Philander from the pavilion end. Judicious use of the short ball just to get it in the batsman's mind and then push the ball on a fuller length. That's the plan to balance. Shot. Lovely from Gary Ballance. The second time that he's hit that cover boundary.
This could be the challenge for Morne Morkel. The team strategy will be we want to get Ballance onto the front foot. That's where he's been dismissed quite often, but it's not a natural length for Morne Morkel. So when he searches to get it a touch fuller, often he over pitches. That's what allows Ballance just to play a beautiful cover drive.
James Taylor. Side Claire Taylor, but James who rang the bell, 5-minute bell this morning. Too high, I think. No real support for the appeal from Morkel.
Touch of an afterthought from Morne Morkel. Comfortably over the top, I think.
Crowd. Lovely reception, reaction to James Taylor this morning. The Lord's crowd. To squeeze that, I think it'll go all the way. It wasn't hit the same power or timing as the previous drive through the covers, but it does end a productive over for England. 10 came from it, 48 for 2. What have you got, Nas?
Well, just trying some footage to back up your point about Rabada just falling down the slope a little bit and dragging it wide to the right-handers. I'm going to do a split screen of him bowling today on the left and bowling in the one-day international on the right. If you look at his position at the crease, look at the gap between his head and his arm there. Compare that to when he got 4 for here in the one-day international, and that gap is less. It didn't seem to fall over as much. If you run that through, you can see how that pushes not only him wider off the crease, off the pitch, but also the ball. If you compare it in the one-dayer, he was running much more down the line, and that found the edge of Jason Roy's bat. Just a fraction falling over.
The same end, though, wasn't it? You bowled from this end in the one-day game. Yeah.
Sean thinks it might be the slope, actually, today is slightly worse.
Well, the slope is worse.
They've changed
3 weeks later.
But you're going to notice this will be, when you as a bowler, you have those odd days where, just as a batsman, your balance is out. I know Gary Ballance at the crease, but it's not, no pun intended. But he's just falling away a touch. So when
his rhythm's a bit off.
Yeah, his rhythm's a bit off. And when he bowls to the left-hander, it's accentuated because you're falling, your weight's going to the leg side, and you have to now push it across to a left-hander. And we've just seen that last delivery, how wide it went, and the seam position isn't the same. And it's smaller things, and sometimes they just creep into your game by not playing too much cricket and having a bit of a break, trying to force the issue. And there's no doubt that his rhythm isn't what it was in that one-day match.
You forget that all cricketers, bowlers are human beings. They're not robots. They will have days where the rhythm is just a little bit off. Same with batting. You sometimes just can't feel as though your feet are moving. Something hasn't quite clicked. You get that sense with Rabada at the moment, that he's just searching for a bit of rhythm, searching for something. And it's amazing how quickly it can come. You bowl one ball and you might think, yeah, that's right. It's just suddenly clicked back into place.
The T20 game, you do sometimes feel like a robot, and you're just there to dish up some half volleys and disappear. He's been a wonderful test bowler for South Africa since he made his debut. He's had many big impacts on test matches. South Africa will be hoping, with England at 48 for 2 after having won the toss and deciding to bat first, they would love him just to pick up the third one. There was that half chance in his last over. Down at fine leg. That's a better sign. When he gets the ball just to shape in slightly towards the left-hander, it means that his weight distribution at the crease is slightly better, 92 miles per hour. So he's starting to sort things out. Maybe he was trying too hard. First test match at Lord's, trying to force the issue, but now he seems to have settled into his spell.
Yeah, looking at that speed gun, that's about 89.5, the previous delivery 92. He's always one of those bowlers who surprises me when I look at the speed gun, because he doesn't look as though he's bowling that quickly. He's got what I'd call a very easy pace. He doesn't look like he puts his body under undue strain to bowl at the pace at which he bowls, unlike, say, Mark Wood, who really looks as though he has to strain to bowl 90 miles an hour. It's a very easy pace from Rabada.
But like our fellow commentator Michael Holding,
Absolutely.
not much energy involved, or didn't look that way anyway.
So 13 overs in the first hour. You'd say the first hour has belonged to South Africa. They've taken a couple of early ones. England are 48 for 2 at drinks.
The war of fun.
Gary Balance on 20. Joe Root, the captain, on 13. They need a good partnership here because they lost their openers quite early in the piece. rest.
Good place to watch from.
Spider Cam giving those shots. First time ever being used in a test match here at Lord's.
Yeah, time to ponder there for Joe Root. Slightly loose shot is. You check the angle out here, the line. It does come back down the hill from the pavilion end there, but it was wide to start with, still wide when it went past the outside of the bat. So a loose shot, which Joe Root will know all about, in the sense that he will have said to himself straight away, no, don't want to do that, don't want to do that again.
There has been good carry on this surface. Hunt was saying that he has had absolutely no problems with the preparation of the pitches here at Lord's this summer. Lots of sunshine, lots of time to get the roller on the pitch, get it very firm. Nice hard surface with a tinge of green. Perfect for test match cricket.
Alistair Cook, thousands of runs it seems for Essex this summer so far, in excellent form. First day of Test cricket, it's a quiet start, just 3 to his name.
I think everyone has gotten accustomed to seeing Gary Ballance almost batting inside his crease throughout his innings. Even when he's playing forward, it seems as if he's still inside his crease. So there has been talk about getting the ball a bit fuller. Well, that's pretty full, that's pretty close, and that's out. Or it has been given out at any rate. Will they be asking the third umpire to get involved?
Well, it was full. And that is the right plan. We've got a man who hangs in the crease like that. You can afford to be full. Now, Gary Ballance didn't help out Keaton Jennings with a possible review earlier in the day. Joe Root appears to be trying to help out Gary Ballance for
LBW. Could we start with the front foot, please? Thank you very much. That's a fair delivery. If we can move on to front on spin vision. Okay, if you could just slow that down and zoom that in, just want to make sure there's no bat involved, please. Okay, thank you. Okay, all right. Yes, just feed that through, please. Yep, okay, I can see there's no bat involved in this, so if you could load ball tracking, please. Okay, Ravi, impact is in line. Wickets hitting. You can stay with your decision. I'll let you know when you're on screen, Rav. On screen. Thank you.
So absolutely nothing wrong with that decision by umpire Ravi. Pitched just outside off stump, coming in, hit him in line, and of course demolishing the stumps behind him. Gary Ballance goes for 20. It's 49 for 3. Batting pitch has a job to do now. 14 half centuries and 3 centuries so far to his name, Johnny Bairstow.
I'm afraid this always looked very out. From the moment it first struck in real time, certainly with the slow motion replays, it was always hitting the stumps. It's the balance thing. He's going to play from within his crease, so if you do get the ball falling straight like that, the LBW is definitely on. Not quite the perfect start, nowhere near the perfect start for Joe Root as England's captain. 3 down for 49 on a morning it seems made for batting. There has been just that little bit of movement now and again, but not enough to suggest that England should be 49 for 3 at this stage in proceedings.
No run there. Well, there is one now. Bit of a fumble by Moni Morkel that we done. Well, Moni Morkel is the man that got rid of Balance. We were talking about pitching the ball up, but Moni Morkel wasn't just concentrating on pitching the ball up all the time. He still bowled a few short balls, as we are seeing here, to Gary Balance. And that's what you want to be doing. You can't afford to just pitch every ball up because you think the batsman isn't very good when the ball is pitched up. If you give him enough practice with the ball pitching up to him, he'll eventually get it right. So you give him a few short ones as well. Perhaps a couple of those were a bit too short going over his head, but just the thought of the short ball is enough. Beautifully bowled.
Perfect delivery, really. First ball, any batsman, whatever the form, is going to be looking to see if he can locate that ball. That's on the perfect sort of length, perfect sort of line, just nips away enough. Could say nips away too much.
When you're in the slips, you're always concentrating very hard on each delivery, but especially when you're fielding in the slips with the bowler coming from the nursery end, because that slope is always going to take the ball away from the right hander, even if the bowler is not a very good away swing bowler or seam bowler. The slope will help him, so you're on your toes in that slip cordon, looking for that outside edge. You're fielding in the slip corner at the pavilion, and you stand a bit further back as well because it's a bit lower. the ground itself. So the ball will carry a bit further. You can see how far back they are standing. Always looks good for the fast bowler from the nursery, and to see the slip standing that far back, I've got some pace, that's what you say. Not that Rabada doesn't, he does have pace. Early 90s on a regular basis. Got it through, no third man. .54 for 3.
Yeah, it's a nice touch from Jonny Bairstow, just lets it come to him. Plays it beautifully late, just runs it off the face. Control. Eyes behind the ball, balance is good. Watch it all the way down until that moment of contact.